Hi, I'm Nikki and I'm here to help you introduce your T4 Kids Tinkering Set into your early years settings. So this is our Safety Matters Tinkering Tip, and this is all about safety in your setting with these activities. As you can see, we've got loads of different products and things to play with for the children to learn to use, all real tools, and as such you need to do it safely. So, before you start tinkering in your setting, we've got 4 tips that we suggest that you do. The first one is keep it simple. Look at the variety of what you get in your set. However, we suggest you just introduce one tool at a time. These are real tools. So maybe for your first session, just a sanding block. Maybe for your second session with a child, just the hammer. And then maybe a few times with the hammer before you move on to the drill, which is a more complex real tool. All nurseries are familiar with risk assessments, and we advocate the fact that you need to do a risk assessment before you introduce tinkering into your session. Give some thought to the storage of the products so that the children can't access the tools themselves. Think about checking the products are still in working order, and again, think about the staffing ratios that are appropriate to your type of setting. Staff are really important with regard to this activity because it's their confidence that means that the children will have so much fun. So we would advocate let the staff go and play with the products away from the children. Maybe after a staff meeting or during time out, let them go and sit down and use the tools and become familiar with it. A confident staff will make for a much better teacher. And a critical thing we think about this activity is about giving your parents the confidence that you've introduced this type of activity safely. One of their biggest fears will always be about the children using the tools safely in the nursery, but then coming home confident that they know how to use a hammer and picking up a hammer that's left at home. So our suggestion is talk to your parents, explain the things you've put in place to manage these activities, like the workwear for instance. The purpose of the workwear is to create boundaries between the use of the tools in the setting and going home and picking up the tools. Children very quickly understand the fact they can only use these tools when they've got their appropriate workwear on. Before you do an actual session with a child, we would suggest that you should do a safety check. Now these 2 documents write up some of what I'm saying, and this checklist document here runs through some of the things that you could do with your children. For instance, check you've got the safety glasses in place, check that you're managing your small parts properly, that you're counting in and you're counting out your nails and your screws for your activities. So use the children to run through this checklist together so that you all know that you're safe. This is all about children understanding and learning more about taking risk so that they can manage themselves better, so that they can be safe in everything they do. Finally, and this is really one of the most important things about safety with regard to tinkering and this type of activity, you've got sharp products, you've got heavy things, bruises and cuts heal, but eyes are precious. So we would always say you need to be wearing safety glasses, adults and children, before you do any tinkering activities. Thanks, and I hope you've enjoyed this tip and you'll listen to some of our others.